morning. Welcome to the Energy Realities Podcast. My name is Stu Turley, podcast host for the Energy Newsbeat podcast channel. And I'll tell you what, we are going to have some serious fun this morning. And let me introduce the panel this morning. From Bulgaria, we have not only just a Irina Slav, we have the Irina Slav. How are you this morning?
Thanks, Stu. I'm fine, thank you. It's summer, but it's not too hot, so I'm really happy.
I like that. And how's your cat doing?
Cat's fine. He's sleeping after spending a few hours outside and getting hot eventually and tired. So it's pretty perfect here right now. I'm appreciating it.
Very cool. And then we have the Dr. Nemeth. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's a moderately warm day in Britain, but it was raining this morning, and we were told we were going to have 30-degree temperatures on the weekend, and it went up to 20. So
cool.
And so now they're saying it's going to be 30 next weekend. So I guess they're just going to keep rolling out those 30-degree headlines until maybe it sticks. I don't know.
That's what they do here, by the way.
Isn't that? That's interesting.
Yeah.
But the map stays glowing red regardless of what.
Glowing red is like some nuclear reaction or something.
It's amazing how those maps have changed over the years. And then we have the David Blackmon. How are you, Mr. Blackmon?
Me and my amazingly disappearing cap. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there it goes. All right. So, yeah, I'm good, man. It's great. It's a beautiful day in Texas, as always.
Fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this over to the group. And we have a memo of understanding that doesn't mean a thing in the Strait of Hormuz. And I really think that the world is now changing to a reality that energy security starts at home. And I think people are starting to really look at more projects away from the Strait of Hormuz. What are you all thinking?
Yeah, I mean,
well, it depends on the country.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at the UK and they're not doing anything. Sorry.
Oh, yes. Well, but I think every Persian Gulf country is working on an alternative route to the Strait of Hormuz. I think this is the big strategic mistake that Iran has made in all of this is when you leverage that choke point the way they've done it, that just creates a brush by the countries that rely on that choke point to find alternatives to it. And I think within 3 years, every one of those countries in the Persian Gulf that today is reliant on the Strait of Hormuz no longer will be. And Iran will have lost its real geopolitical leverage as a result. That's a good thing for the world. If there has to be, if there is a positive outcome to all of this, that would be it. We just end Iran's ability to control that choke point.
Kuwait last week and two other ones also both had meetings with Oman and Saudi Arabia to tap into their pipelines and their other projects. So you are spot on. They are going to be doing that. For our podcast listeners, I was tracking LNG tankers. One of them is an Indian tanker, went through the strait last night, and now it's going to an Indian port. So there is going to be some traffic rolling through. And when you comms are dreadful.
Not sure what that means. I don't know if we're having some technical issues going out or what, but anyway, everything sounds fine to me.
And so, Irina, what do you think this means for Europe?
Oh, what an interesting question, Stu. Thank you. I was just thinking today because I wrote a Substack about green hydrogen, yes, again, and biofuels being promoted as homegrown energy. And how we should totally do that instead of oil and gas, and how a Spanish energy company used to be called Cepsa, now it's called Muive or something. Anyway, it's building the biggest hydrogen valley. I don't know why they call them valleys, We were supposed to have a hydrogen valley here next door, basically. Why valleys, I have no idea. So it's building the biggest green hydrogen valley in Europe. The price tag of €1 billion. And lo and behold, this same company did a report that says that green hydrogen and second generation biofuels could reduce Europe's dependence on imported energy from over 50% to just 24 or 28% or something by 2040.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody knows how much this will cost, how many billions would need to be wasted on that. Meanwhile, Norway is getting seriously pissed with the EU for that, the restriction on Arctic drilling. And I think it was the Prime Minister who got fed up and told the FT, please make up your minds. Let us do energy because that's homegrown energy. And he definitely has a point. They have local energy, just like the UK. So does continental Europe. Not everywhere, but if you let the Norwegians drill for gas and for oil further north, that could help. And it won't cost those billions that will be spent on green hydrogen that nobody can afford.
Yeah.
If they could, the cost would have come down, but it hasn't. So for Europe, it means absolutely nothing unless they really change their agenda. However things work out or don't work out, however things develop in the Middle East, Europe remains reliant on imports. That's the end of it.
I'm lost on how green hydrogen could reduce Europe's reliance on oil so dramatically in just 14 years. You're going to, I mean, do they account for, I mean, just the infrastructure costs alone are just so daunting.
Yeah,
and the hydrogen.
The boss of that company said that we need to build infrastructure because you also need infrastructure for that, second generation biofuels. To me, it's impossible. It's a fantasy, but it's a way to get money for stupid projects. So.
Yeah, it's like they can tap into that Repower EU granting mechanism, right?
It's finite.
Yeah. Where are they getting that money from?
Exactly.
Like pulling it out of the sky or something. Yeah, the Norway thing is interesting because they're reopening 3 natural gas fields that they had closed down back in 1998. And the EU and the environment groups are going apoplectic. And then Norway has also proposed 70 new locations for exploration and development in the North Sea, the Barents Sea, and the Norwegian Sea. And the environmental groups and the left, it's a Labour Party in charge in Norway. And the Greens are flipping out. And the activists in the EU are going crazy. And it's funny because the Guardian reported on this about a month ago. And one of the co-authors of the piece was Gillian Tett, who normally writes for the Financial Times. And there's this tone of criticism that, how dare Norway be doing this, providing reliable energy to Europe, which it turns out Norway is pretty much the only place where the EU can get reliable oil and gas. And then, like I had started to talk about, the UK is going the absolute opposite direction, where they're tripling down on net zero. They're putting forward all these policies where people have to reduce consumption because conservation is now a big thing. And they're introducing all of these different rules for appliances and being able to monitor how people use their energy, because everything they want to add on, which is more wind and solar and batteries, it's unreliable. And they know it's not going to be enough. And they know it's unreliable. So instead of building what works and exploring and developing more in the North Sea and jurisdictions that they control, they want to control how people use power. So it's not a solution for anything, but it certainly follows through with the net zero stuff.
Right. And that's always going to be the end game, is to control how everyone's behavior. to fit the model that they're building, right? That they want to build. But I'm just still confused on what are we, or is Europe now supposed going to switch to hydrogen cars instead of electric vehicles now? Is that what the key is going to
I
be?
really have no idea. I think it's just hydrogen peddling. Green molecules, they call them together. Biofuels and green hydrogen are together collectively called green molecules. Apparently, molecule is very, very hypey word. And then did you see another report? Covered it for oil price today. How most businesses expect operations to go electric by 2035.
Yeah.
It's a good thing we're all sitting down. Now, the study comes from some outlet that was, it was commissioned by several organizations. Among them, I'm reading the list out, E3G, Women Business Coalition, and the Global Renewables Alliance.
Yeah.
But of course, we're supposed to believe that this is a very impartial study and that really businesses, what sort of businesses? I can't electrify my business any further. I only use electricity to conduct my business because I do it on a laptop. But I can't choose where I get my electricity from. And I'm not planning on, getting it from solar alone, but I'm a micro enterprise. So bigger businesses, for example, in the service sector, how do they do that? How do they go electrified?
Yeah.
This sort of thing, let alone heavy industries. I think I've mentioned it before that the green mob has seen a great opportunity in this crisis right now to push their agenda as a question of energy security first and emission reduction second. It's still not going to work because it's still expensive, but they keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, and it makes sense that they're doing that because they've seen the shift now in the momentum in favor of energy security rather than emissions reduction that started really 3 years ago. And they're trying to catch up desperately by not by changing what they're doing, right, but by changing their talking points, which is how the left always operates. You double down on failure, but you update your talking points.
Oh, that's just great. They're spending money on green hydrogen in Kenya and Namibia. Yeah, because the people there could use some more trouble. And Germany just agreed to pay 1.3 billion euro for green hydrogen from Denmark.
Did no one?
How are they
over there
transporting it?
Right. Well, yes, that's a really relevant question, actually. How does it move?
Yeah. How does it move? Because hydrogen is notorious for embrittlement and everything else.
Yeah.
So how are they moving that?
Yeah.
Some sort of tender that sounds like the electricity tenders, but I didn't go in depth. I'll just look now.
It's like no one read the news that BP and Shell both canceled their major green hydrogen projects in Europe for a good reason. They didn't make those decisions just by flipping a coin. There were really good business reasons behind doing that. And those are two companies that did everything they could to pretend to be green for 30 years and are now facing reality and moving back to their core business. And if the governments are going to continue to subsidize this kind of stuff, it's going to continue to seek the money. The rent seekers are going to continue to come in and try to do it. And who knows, maybe someday they'll find some success somewhere.
So the Danes are building a 133-kilometer pipeline from Esbjerg to the German border. It should be fully operational by 2030.
Where does it go from the German border?
I don't know. We will have to connect to some other pipelines, but no. Get this. Do you know what the capacity of this pipeline will be? 3 gigawatts.
3 gigawatts. And how much are they spending on?
Oh my gosh.
3 gigawatts.
Wow.
Well, my neighborhood could be powered by that, I guess. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Is it for industry? Is it meant for electrical production? Like, I'm confused on what they
I
want
don't
to
know,
use it for.
reading the overview by Google's AI. Danish green hydrogen projects that will feed directly into the German market. How?
Okay. Sure.
I
A Hindenburg.
Yeah, I think Mordecai hits it right on the head there.
a Hindenburg.
And then the next questioner is, have you ever been Turkey, guys?
No, but I
Maybe
live next door to Turkey, so close
to
enough.
Turkey. Yeah, I think maybe is that question.
Well,
And no, I have not.
Does the last name Turley, Turley, count since I'm almost a turkey?
No, but
One
speaking
letter
of
away, Stu.
Turkey is doing things right. Turkey is exploring gas overseas. Turkey has pipelines. Turkey wants
Yes.
to be an international regional gas hub. They don't care about emissions.
Yeah.
Nope.
Same with Syria. And then I heard that Israel wants to have some pipeline network come through Gaza to the Mediterranean to export to the European Union. So there's these competing interests in that sort of Middle Eastern, Near East jurisdictions that are looking to be those pipeline hubs, which will be very interesting. You know, in order to bypass some of the sea routes, they want to do these overland ones. So that should be interesting if they can actually get it off the ground and make it happen. Because quite often with these types of pipelines, there's lots of talk and then nothing gets built. So,
But when, the thing about that too, though, is that once the decision is made to build the pipelines on the Arabian Peninsula, those damn pipelines get built in a big hurry.
yeah.
Yeah, the UAE is doubling the capacity of its big pipeline to the Arab Sea in a year.
Yeah, the Gulf of Oman.
The Gulf of Oman, excuse me, in a year, 1 year. Whereas in America, you couldn't get the environmental impact study done in a year or
for
3
sure.
years. And
Yeah.
And so, they do hem and haw a lot, and there's a lot of negotiations involved. But when they decide to build the projects, they go fast. And people, I think, underestimate how fast it can happen over there because they just don't have we say they don't care about emissions. They don't have the permitting restrictions that
Yes.
we do in the Western world. And that's
Why
not
does
always a
it
bad thing.
Why does it take years to do an environmental assessment? Well, I can guess what the answer is, but
Lawsuits.
Lawsuits.
oh,
Abuse of the court system by the left-wing activist groups that are funded in part by China. In
I
large
thought it was
part.
more a question of not enough people to actually go and do the assessment, like physically.
Oh my gosh.
no, there's
no.
armies of people.
Yeah,
it's
there's
a whole
armies.
cottage industry.
And then you have to consult with every single stakeholder that might have an interest in what's happening. I don't know what the rules are in the United States, if they're as loose as in Canada now, where they had people from all over the world expressing how they don't want a pipeline built. I was like, why are you even involved in that conversation? It's not for you. But then saying that because it'll be exported globally, it will impact global emissions, and therefore they have an interest in speaking out against it.
We just have people voting from all over the world in our elections, so it doesn't
We
really
do.
matter.
Certainly,
mail-in
we do in
ballots all over the
California.
place. Can I just talk a little bit about Africa, because the issue with Iran has opened up not just issues about oil and natural gas, but fertilizers. And partly it's because so many countries had just sort of offshored their own fertilizer production to these regions where they don't have the same kinds of net zero policies that hold things back. But one of the things that had happened back in 2024 is that Nigeria had signed a gas sale and purchase agreement to build a petrochemical facility, and they're supposed to have their kind of final financial approval this year. But that facility will also be producing fertilizer. And now some people are saying that this fertilizer is absolutely necessary in Africa, which is true. And I wonder if it will also be exported to the EU instead of just helping the African farmers. What do you all think?
Wow, if they pay a premium, probably. They need fertilizer.
Yeah, and I mean, and Africa needs the fertilizer to go to the EU and the United States because Africa imports a lot of food from those sources. And so if we can't, grow the food here, then people in Africa are going to starve. And that, of course, is one of the potential major impacts we could be seeing here over the next year or two, the fallout from this Persian crisis. And it hasn't received enough attention, I think, in the media. It's not my specialty. I've written about it a couple of times, but I'm not a farmer. I don't write about farming, but it's a big deal, and the fallout just could be awful in terms of human lives in the coming 2 years.
Yeah. Well, what my understanding, I was listening to an analysis that Louisiana wants to build a huge fertilizer facility in order to onshore more fertilizer production in the United States. But the regulatory process is so long that they might only get approval next year, maybe, if they happen to get through that gauntlet, the regulatory gauntlet. And then once construction happens, that's probably another 8 to 9 months, maybe a year before it can be online. So you're looking at 2 years before, if things go to plan, right? That this fertilizer production can happen in Louisiana, where there's gas there. So it's interesting because Canada produces a lot, but we export it and don't give a better price to Canadian farmers.
Yeah,
they pay world price.
And the thing about the Louisiana facility is before it even starts construction, it's going to get hit with major lawsuits from the same anti-development groups that oppose all sensible things in the United States. And so that project will get held up for additional years because they'll find friendly judges appointed by Joe Biden and Barack Obama to issue injunctions. And so, it's damn near an impossibility to build anything real and productive in the United States anymore. And you have to really be dedicated to the cause to get it done ultimately. So,
we just got our first refinery in, I think since a million years ago. Noah
79.
Yeah. Noah built the first one. And then, so this one is just now coming in. The CEO is very, very good. We don't even refine our own light sweet crude out of the Permian. And this is the first refinery designed to do that. And it is coming online in 2027. And it took him 10 years to get here. So
get the permits.
Yep. It's a problem.
In a friendly state in Texas.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. We need permitting reform. Congress continues to work on it. And there's a bill that would be pretty good. Okay. Solve some of the problems. And hopefully that'll get included in the next reconciliation legislation so the Democrats can't kill it.
This is kind of nice. Somebody gives Stu a compliment. Yay. We love Stu.
We love Stu.
Will there always be a global price for oil, or will that change? Yes, you're going to have supply and demand pricing because exploration and drilling does cost, but it changes around the world. When you take a look at Guyana, you have Shell and Exxon. Their drilling cost for recovery of oil in Guyana is about $20 a barrel. So when you take a look at profitability, you can really sink down. Now, profitability in Alaska, it's probably around $70 a barrel when you get started. Off of Greenland, they've now got Greenland drilling coming in, and it's going to be expensive while you build the field. Till you build the field, you're going to be even higher than that. It's a good question.
Well, it's billions of dollars in upfront investment before you produce a single barrel of oil in the offshore anywhere. Yeah, and Guyana's cheap. But on the global price question, Stu hit on it a minute ago. We don't have refining capacity to refine the crude we produce. The light sweet crude we produce is now 60, 70% of all of our oil production in the United States. And we have very limited capacity to refine it. So it has to go on to the international market. And that means we have to import barrels from the international market. And that means we are hostage to the global price for crude. And that's because the federal government made it impossible to build a refinery in this country for almost half a century. That's a direct result of that. And so, people want to accuse the industry of price gouging. In reality, you are being price gouged by your member of Congress, and you ought to be telling them that. That's
I
my
still
rant for
think
today.
there's going to be some new technology coming around the corner, changing things. And I really think coal to gasoline and diesel and jet fuel will become a thing in the future. There's a lot of coal out there, and it's be cheaper to get than drilling for oil in some areas. So I
Isn't
also
it
think
amazing? We've had coal to gas technology for a century and have never really exploited it in the United States or anywhere else, really, to scale.
Well, except for Germany during the war.
Yeah, during the
it's
war.
expensive, right? If you have access to oil and a refinery, that's cheaper than coal gasification.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately,
I think China's doing something in that area right now.
Sure, China has just gigantic coal resources, just unimaginably huge, and so that makes a lot of sense.
What about India? I wasn't an issue last week that one of the India's tankers got hit or something, but they've been cooperating regarding the Straits of, is it Malacca?
Oh, yeah, that's the strait there in the Indian Ocean, right? In the Indonesia area, right? Yeah. Which the United States basically controls now.
Yeah. So, it's interesting because if you look at all these different sort of geopolitical moves, it's all about America and China. And it's not necessarily what people think it is. And it's interesting that how India is trying to have more reliable supplies. They have to be convinced that, to take the side of the United States and whatnot and in these issues. I think they still have unresolved, though, their trade agreement, which could affect things. But I don't know, it's an interesting development there.
Yeah, and
Why
India
does everyone have to take sides? This is beyond me. We're talking about trade. Trade benefits both the seller and the buyer. I mean, wars and geopolitics and ideology are a whole other thing.
Yes, they are.
This simplistic view of the world by certain politicians in positions of power that you're either with me or against me is baffling to me in this day and age. But it's actually fitting for this day and age because back in the past they knew that diplomacy is important and doing business even while you're at war, if you will, is important to keep everyone going. It's just interesting, random observation.
Yes, and hopefully we're about to get back to having everybody going here. We'll see. I'm not sure.
We'll see.
Europe is filling its gas storage. I see it's now at over 40%. So they're paying for the nose, but they're filling it.
Who is filling it?
They have to.
Who's filling gas storage?
Union, yeah, they have to.
Yes, EU, yes.
Well, it's interesting because Germany has been signing these different agreements, I would say, over the past 2 years to solidify LNG purchases from Canada once they're up and running. So there's a new LNG facility that's in the major projects office. I guess who knows when it'll get built. And it's called Cassel-Lissums, and there's a coalition of producers who will go to this facility, which is all electrified. Apparently, they're not allowed to use the natural gas to generate the energy to liquefy the natural gas. They have to use electricity, which is clean because it's from hydro.
I was going to ask
Anyway,
about
so
that. How's the electricity generated?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be generated by something.
Yeah.
That's what always confuses me about the whole electrification argument is, yes, you have to electrify everything. Well, okay, fine. Something is generating the electricity. Tell me what it is, and then I'll tell you what benefit you created.
Yeah.
How
So
reliable
in
it is.
British Columbia, they built this new huge hydro dam called Site C. It took forever. Kind of like all of these mega projects, they take forever. And I believe they're already oversubscribed on who wants to use that clean energy. And now they're like, oh, gee, we should put up windmills in British Columbia. I mean, it's a beautiful province full of mountains, and they want to cover it now with windmills. And,
Sure.
there's limits to how much hydro they can do just because of the environmental damage. There's the rivers go north-south and whatnot. And so now they're oversubscribed with electricity. But this LNG facility, it hasn't been built yet. And Germany has now signed at least 2 contracts from different utilities to purchase that natural gas. And, they had been negotiating these deals privately, and then Mark Carney comes along and wants to take credit. Oh, look, we signed a deal. It's like, you've been negotiating that. The companies have been negotiating it, and somehow he wants to take credit. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing where Germany is looking to purchase natural gas wherever it can. And this Canadian stuff will have to run through either the Panama Canal, or it'll have to go south or around the tip of South America and then around to Germany.
Ooh, that's far
a
away.
long trip.
That's a long trip. But there's rumors that they're going to be further developing natural gas on the east coast of Canada, which there used to be a lot off of Nova Scotia. It produced for about 20 years. That was like an Exxon Sable Island fields, but now they're looking to build out more, and that potentially that makes more sense to go to Europe than stuff from the West Coast.
But then there was a recent Reuters report that said European buyers are getting, not as cool about long-term supply deals for US LNG. Just a few days ago. Didn't read the whole report, but the headline caught my attention because you were all about long-term supply deals just a couple of years ago. Now they don't want those again.
Yeah, and that's a problem for Europe, right? Because I mean, that just means the US LNG is going to start going back to Asia again. It already is, and so
good.
Yeah, so
Asia
anyway.
needs it.
Well, they do, and maybe Europe doesn't. Maybe this green hydrogen thing will work out.
Yeah, we won't need it anymore.
Hey, we can always fantasize.
So
All I want to say is Tiger Tony asked the question of the day: is that actor who plays Frasier top left? That's you, Stu. Did you play Frasier? Frasier Crane?
No, I actually played Kramer, not Kramer on Seinfeld.
You do look a little like Kelsey Grammer.
Well,
He's a
I don't have his
damn
money.
good-looking man too, isn't he?
There you go.
Yeah.
I think
Okay, sorry.
we are deleting him and bye-bye.
Oh, whoops. And then Tiger Tony went off the reservation there. Oh, well, too bad.
Yeah, no, he put some other things out there. So if you're going to make comments relating to energy, please keep them on energy related as opposed to Tony. Anyway.
Well, that was methane related, wasn't it?
The last one was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. And when things are related to methane, we have a rule around here. It needs to be called the Jerry Nadler effect. So,
oh, that's funny.
Good morning to Andre, who is from Brazil. Nice to see you, Andre. Thank you for joining us. Anyway, sorry, Tammy, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I can't remember what I was going to say now.
Oh,
the rig counts. The rig counts. That's what it was. Because I was looking at the Baker Hughes rig counts this morning. And what's interesting is that the US is at 562, which is down 1 from last month or something, but up 7 from last year. And Canada is like at 180, which is up 42 from last year, up 11 from last month. So things are happening in North America. Internationally, they're down by 3. And so
but Canada's rig
yeah.
count is going crazy here over the past few months. And is that I think I asked this last week and now I've forgotten the answer, Tammy. Is that oil sands related or is it shale related?
Shale related.
In the Montney Basin.
Yeah, I think so.
I
think it's up in that corner.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so, but I'm not sure.
This is a huge question across the world, and I think, is there a solution to the data centers and keeping energy costs low? Are you seeing a lot of rising electrical bills? And let me just say something real quick, and then I want to open it up because I want to hear what the European and UK and look at this is. Bloomberg about 4 or 5 months ago wrote an article that there was a 200% increase back east because there's a lot of government data centers that were being installed, and it was the consumers were being charged for the additional power lines and transmission lines, and then everybody started blaming data centers, and it's caused a lot of problems going around there. Texas has got a growth of that, but now Governor Abbott has said if you're not going to increase consumer rates due to a data center. Not all states are that way. How are data centers being handled in either the EU or the UK?
In the UK. In the UK, the Department of Energy, Security and Net Zero, the National Energy System Operator, National Grid, and all those, they're actively supporting the grid connections of data centers, where they're prioritizing them as critical national infrastructure. There's AI growth zones, but there's no provision like Trump's executive order where they're supposed to bring their own energy or whatever. They're just they're being put on the grid, and the UK doesn't have enough electricity to do what they think that the data centers will do. So I don't know what that's going to be. So I don't know, because they're doubling down on net zero and pushing the wind and solar and batteries everywhere. So I'm really not sure where they're going to get that energy from. Maybe the new Hinkley Point C nuclear power plant will be, maybe that'll go towards the AI. I don't know.
How is this going? Is it nearing completion, Hinkley Point?
It's getting further along, but Natural England keeps protesting their provisions for looking after some fish. And what's interesting is that Natural England, which is this government body that's supposed to go through and make sure that wildlife isn't affected by different developments and so on, the head of it has a huge conflict of interest because he used to be the head of UK Greenpeace, who lobbied against Hinkley Point C 15, 20 years ago. Now he's in charge of Natural England and keeps bringing these cases against, you have to protect this fish from the water that's used to cool and all that. And so the company has put all these protective measures in, and every time they meet a requirement, something new gets put up. They move the goalposts. So they're working. I don't know when they're actually going to connect it because Natural England keeps doing this stuff. Yeah, the salt marsh. Yeah, exactly. It's stupid. So that's Britain. They have someone with a clear conflict of interest, the head of an organization, protesting, trying to shut down a nuclear power plant they protested the creation of 20 years ago.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's just great. So I'm starting to get the feeling that the UK will wake up when the lights go out, Spain style. or even
I was
worse.
going to say it happened to Spain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
this
so
AI is this ambition in the UK and in the EU, and they're not thinking with such expensive electricity already, you're adding a considerable consumers.
which
How are
they'll
you going
then
to
say
satisfy the
it's
demand?
our fault for using energy incorrectly. So now, they want to roll out all these different things to control how much energy people use. And instead of blaming it on net zero as they ought to, they will try to divert people's attention like they have in Democrat regions in the United States. They'll blame it on the data centers, where it's like, well, no, it's your stupid net zero policies that have undermined the grid, have made it unreliable. You're not planning to put more reliable energy on the grid. You're shutting down stuff you shouldn't be. And then people will blame data centers.
Yeah.
So
They become the new boogeyman of the left.
Yeah.
And
Well, they're
the
not
data
exactly
center
innocent to me,
I'm sorry.
as in they do consume considerable amounts of electricity.
Sure they do. Yeah, absolutely. That's why they need to bring their own power. when they
That's a
get
very
built.
good idea. That's actually one
You
of
know.
the best ideas in
Yeah.
energy.
But I think
That-
in the UK and Europe, what kind of power will that be?
Exactly.
Because you're not,
Right.
if you're phasing out emissions, can you bring natural gas power, which is reliable? Can you run
Yeah.
a bunch of generators that emit, even though they're not connected to the grid, and they're just there to power the data center? I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, the data center industry's got an enormous PR problem. It's the fracking, the new fracking. It's the new
The new
boogeyman
fracking.
related
Yeah.
to energy. They're using exactly the same tactics, exactly the same narratives that they used against the fracking business 15 years ago
Yeah.
in the United States. And the data center industry was too slow catching on, and now they're getting banned, not just by localities, but entire states now
Yeah.
in the United
Yeah.
States. We've got a situation today where virtually all of the permitted data centers now exist in just 6 different states, mainly in Texas and Virginia. But the communists that are now in charge of the Virginia government are going to put an end to all of that. So there will be virtually no more expansion of data centers in Virginia. It's all going to end up getting concentrated in Texas. And that was why we saw Governor Abbott last week wake up finally and say, oh, guess what? You want to build a data center in Texas, you need to bring your own power capacity with you. And
Yeah.
that was a law that was actually passed by the legislature 2 years ago or last year, but hasn't really been effectively enforced yet. Now it's going to be effectively enforced. And so the data center industry is going to undergo some pretty significant changes in the United States, and it's going to slow down. The expansion of it is going to slow down when even Texas is now pushing back and restricting what they can do. That's going to slow down the expansion. And what that means for, we keep hearing that the United States is in a global competition with China mainly for dominance in the AI space. Is that really a big risk? I don't know. I don't know how much computing capacity the AI business really needs beyond what's already in place and planned. But it's a national issue and it's an international issue at this point, that not just the national governments, but international bodies are going to have to grapple with. And the people in the data center business, man, they are woefully unprepared for this fight. And they're way
Yeah.
behind and they're losing. And it's going to be really hard for them to catch up.
I'm not sure
Well-
slowing down is a bad thing. I think this
I'm
industry
not
has been
either.
growing extremely fast, and that's not healthy for the
Yeah,
industry
I agree.
itself. I mean, all these billions being pledged, lended, borrowed.
Yeah. It's very analogous. And I look back on history a lot of the oil and gas business, and I know I'm US centric and I'll make this as brief as I can, but there's so many analogies to what's happening in the data center space today, to what happened with the East Texas field near Kilgore, Texas in the 1930s in Texas. It was the first gigantic oil field discovered in Texas. And when you watch the evolution of all this, it's so analogous to what happened in the East Texas field. And I'll just leave it at that.
We learn nothing from history.
Right.
Yeah.
We just repeat it over and over and over.
It's also
and even go ahead, Stu.
It's also kind of like Kern County in California. Kern County used to be one of the biggest oil producers in the United States, and they've shut it down.
Yeah.
I think they've had 2 permits this year, and you can't do new wells without permits. And so, oops.
But wait, Gavin Newsom said he was going to issue 2,000 permits. What happened?
Oh,
He wouldn't
yeah.
lie to us, would he?
Announcements.
You bet.
Yeah.
I'd love to do my Gavin Newsom impersonation, but I don't have the hair. But I can move like him. You know, so
You got to do the hands.
oh yeah, sorry.
Oh gosh. Well,
But my imitation of
with
Gavin Newsom was spot on good. I thank you, Jeff.
with respect to the data centers, it'll be interesting because Elon Musk says he will do data centers in space, which is possible, and have them up. He's saying within 2 years. So it'll be. What I find fascinating is in the Canadian conversation, the European conversation, the UK one around data centers is that they need to be sovereign and they don't want to be relying on external jurisdictions, aka America. So they want to build their own. But, are they going to put stuff in space too? They certainly wouldn't use Elon Musk's data centers, I'm sure, because apparently he's someone they're queuing everyone should hate, which was appalling last week. Yeah. Both the Financial Times and the Globe and Mail in Canada just had some really appalling articles. But he's a guy who's got vision, and he makes these statements, and people are like, "Oh, you're crazy. I don't think so," and then he does it. So
yes,
exactly. They should learn by now. He does what he says later than he says, but he does it.
I think one of the funny things is Herr Starmer or Keir Starmer or Starmer trying to quash a post that he did not like on X is causing a lot of the problem because he can't censor X.
Yeah.
So he wants to block and ban it.
They're banning all social media for kids under 16. All of it.
Today. Yeah. How are they going to do it? With age verification?
I don't know.
I'll just point out that's what communist regime would do.
Yeah.
That's
and if you look at the
camel's
list
nose under
of
the tent.
Yeah.
Well, they are pretty totalitarian.
Yeah.
And on the whole data centers in space thing, there's a far better chance that Elon Musk will succeed in operating data centers in space than the green hydrogen industry will displace 30% of Europe's oil use in the next 15 years. Okay. A lot better odds. Much better bet on Elon Musk.
Face verification. That's what sounds horrible.
So you have to take a picture, a video or something. They do this all the time with banking here. So if you are trying to do some banking, they want you to, about every couple days, if you're doing transactions or whatever, you have to take a video of you saying something that they send you, as well as a picture. And so it's unfathomable. And then complain, and then they'll push a digital ID, I'm sure. So
of course, yes. Yeah. Boy.
But see, this is why they need the data centers, to be able to monitor and track and enforce all this. And so this is the irony I've talked about for a long time, is that in the UK, for example, their grid is in trouble. They're not building enough reliable energy. And so they have to be able to have software and AI monitor what they're creating, virtual power plants, to monitor what everybody's doing so that they can streamline the grid or whatever. But in order to do that, you need these data centers that take up way more energy than individuals do in a household. And so it becomes this huge irony where you have these, in order to monitor your unreliable stuff, you have to put more stuff on the grid that draws more power.
And pushes prices further up. Yeah. Irony is the best word to describe this whole transition business.
Transition.
Transition, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the UK has so much coal; they could do so much with coal, and they don't even want to think about it. It's like, oh well, the coal fields are flooded, the mines are flooded. There's nothing we can really do. But yet they'll import coal from who knows where to do stuff for steel because they don't have enough coal for making steel. But apparently they're just going to recycle steel all the time now in order to make these electric arc furnaces work. And so clearly defense isn't an issue because Ed Miliband would not give up any of his budget in order to build up the UK's defense. And that's why the defense minister resigned last week.
Oh, that's why he resigned.
One of the reasons.
Because the energy transition is more important, of course.
Yeah, net zero. Net zero is more important than defense.
Considering you have of 7 destroyers, 1 was working.
Oh yeah.
Well, it didn't really work though. It had to go back into dry dock, didn't it?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. My son follows Mark Felton Productions, and he's been very critical. He's like this historian, and he's got a great channel on YouTube where he talks about the UK's past capabilities in the context of today and how poor it is. But it's been a long time coming. It's such a pity.
Since the UK quit, or there you go.
Andrew Monford of Net Zero Watch defended the possible need for new coal in the UK as the order book for gas turbines and long lead times for nuclear. Yeah, but it's a pity they blew up their coal power plants. So good luck trying to build another one.
And Stu, you were going to this one?
The UK quit coal. Can we use saying carrying coal to Newcastle? And then the next one, Starmer is making Chamberlain look good. Nice.
Yeah. And depending the outcome of the by-election this week, there's this other guy wants to challenge Starmer to be the new leader of the party.
Wait, there's more elections in the UK this week?
Yeah, by-election.
Explain by-election to us.
So when a member of parliament resigns or whatever, then that seat is open for a new person, and they have a by-election. So it's like this one place
has to be elected.
Yeah, so they re-elect whoever for that to represent that riding. And so this guy named Andy Burnham, who was the mayor of Manchester, I think, I can't remember. He had left the Labour Party because he'd had a falling out with people. And then he went to run the city. And so then he's like, I can do better than Starmer. And so then he got this guy to resign his seat so that he could run. And if he's elected, then he would immediately challenge Starmer for the leadership of the party.
Oh,
okay. Wow.
Well,
my dog could do better than Starmer, and she died 4 years ago.
She'd certainly do less damage. Yeah.
You said a cheaper way?
I said, yeah, we have a cheaper way. We don't have by-elections because we have lists of politicians from each party, and the one at the top of the list goes in if there are enough votes for the party. If he or she resigns, the next on the list just automatically takes their place in parliament, saving money on elections. Bulgaria would 7 over years or something.
Well, it's funny because no one's made the case about it being expensive. Like whenever there's a by-election in Canada and it looks like a conservative's going to win or something, they will always come out, oh, the cost of this is crazy. But there's been nothing Nothing here on that. It's just like, yeah, Reform and Restore should get together, and otherwise they're going to split the vote, and so on and so forth. So we'll see what actually happens. Should be interesting.
It's not politically correct to complain about the cost of anything anymore where government's concerned. Nobody in America talks. That's the Republicans. That's a completely lost concept, and it never was a concept for the Democrats. So it just, no one even talks about it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. It's in the UK, in Canada, there's all these announcements for spending. Nobody knows where the money's going to come from. But in the UK, whenever they don't want to do something, they say, we have a black hole in the finances, and so we have to increase your taxes. But yet they spend money on other stuff that you're like, well, you're nationalizing this, you're nationalizing that. Where's that money coming from? You have money for that, but you have to raise taxes because there's a black hole?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's all about
it depends.
Yeah, it does. It really
So they're
does.
actually quite good at managing money as long as they manage it into one direction only. Well, I'm joking, of course. They're horrible at managing money.
Well, I'm still waiting for Bulgaria to get in trouble for cutting off the
So am
financing
I.
or
Let's
whatever
not
of
give them
Ukraine.
any ideas. I'll let you know if we do get into trouble. We probably will, but they have bigger problems right now.
What's the conventional wisdom in Ukraine, by the way? Things seem to be happening in the conflict over there. That leads me to think maybe that's going to come to some resolution soon.
I don't know.
Am I
Zelensky just
wrong
asked
about
for
that?
another $20 billion from the EU, so that's where we're at.
And he's being a special guest at the G7 this week, invited by
Oh,
France,
well, of course.
right?
Of course.
The usual. Yes. This is what bothers me. I'm sure we'll talk about G7 next week. But so it's the G7, but they keep inviting all these other countries, most of whom are part of the G20, which they have their own meetings. So why are they showing up at the G7? Is it time to just get rid of it and stick with the G20?
No, he goes
I don't
everywhere.
understand.
He's everywhere. He's like the longest
He's the mascot
performer in the world. I mean, he hasn't stopped going around the world for 2 years at least. So of course he's going to be at the G7
with cap in hand. I need more money. I need
Well,
another
Greta
house.
Thunberg is no longer available. She's off on other matters now, so they can.
Yeah, she lost
Gaza, Cuba,
yeah.
which is the next
Oh,
one.
is she doing Cuba now too?
Yeah,
Well,
was
she's
doing
a
something
professional
with
activist, so that makes sense. But why is she no longer doing net zero? She was the face of the transition. So sad.
I know.
She was.
I know. But see, the transition is part of all these other things. Whether it's the Gaza thing, the communist thing,
of course.
It's all part of that progressive international, socialist international, in order to bring about the revolution globally. And net zero was the big sort of umbrella for a long time. And then there's these other, I would say, points that they could try to build up anger and fear and whatever. It's whatever you think you can use.
Because people started to get tired of the net zero talk.
Right.
You need to do more all the time. Yeah, I get it. Diversification fears.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So people get angry about Gaza, so you jump on that bandwagon. Then people are upset about Venezuela and Cuba, so you jump on that bandwagon. You get them all riled up, and then you can pivot back to net zero once it's hot in summer or something.
It's fixing to get that way. It's going to be hot here soon.
Yeah.
Big El Nino.
It's always something. Well, I think we're done, Stu. You're the
I think
host.
so. How did everybody find you, Irina?
I'm Irina Substack. No, Irina Slav on Energy on Substack. Sorry.
And everybody goes to the nemethreport.substack.com.
Yep, that's the place.
And then go to blackmon.substack.com and
Very
go
simple.
to theenergynewsbeat.substack.com. And all right, have a great time, guys. Have fun.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.